Who should you bat last? Who should you bat leadoff? In this video, we'll talk about that dreaded last spot in the batting order and some general rules for lineup construction. So if you're a coach in youth baseball, in this video, I'm going to chop things up to sort of like low level, kind of like 12U and under, or 12 and under, 12U, and 13 and above, like higher levels of youth baseball. And I want to talk about specifically, more than other things, lineup construction and why we're going to bat some players last or second to last and some of the implications there. So big thing to understand, two important concepts right off the bat. Number one, every spot below the leadoff hitter gets 0.1, I don't know why I'm hand signing this out. You get 0.1 fewer at-bats per game every spot you drop in the lineup. This is important because you want to get the most value out of your best hitters. That's why you want to stack them high up in the lineup. That's why you also see some major league teams do some semi-unconventional things, such as batting Kyle Schwarber first. Yes, sometimes he comes up and hits a leadoff home run, and you're like, man, I wish we had him hitting fourth, and that was a grand slam instead. But remember, the leadoff hitter is only the leadoff hitter one time per game. After the first shuffle through, whoever leads off leads off. So the leadoff hitter sort of like advantage is only there once. Your lineup is only stacked through one time. That said, there are some important considerations, especially for the last couple hitters as they turn over to the top of the lineup. So back in Major League Baseball, maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was a lot of hullabaloo in the news cycle about, I think it was the Cardinals maybe, don't quote me on this, batting their pitcher 8th instead of 9th. Why did they do that? Well, the reason is, and there is good evidence, and all the little stats you'll hear from me in this video I took from the book called The Book by Tom Tango and Michael Lickman. They found that basically, and this I think makes a lot of sense, say that your pitcher, your National League team, your pitcher bats 100, and your worst hitter, who's not a pitcher, bats 220, right? That's your 8-hole hitter typically. 8-hole hitter bats 220, pitcher bats 100. Well, the pitcher now who bats 100 is almost only 1 out of every 10 at-bats going to be on base for the number 1 hitter, right? And say you have someone like Ronald Acuna or Kyle Schwarber batting first. Maybe you want to put that bad pitcher at 8, so now your 220 hitter is at 9, and they bat 220, but they also get on, walk and get hit by pitches, so maybe their on-base percentage is 280. Now they're on base 28 out of 100 times for when Kyle Schwarber or Ronald Acuna Jr. come up. And that is what you want. You want to get more base runners on base when the top of your lineup starts to turn over. That's important. So that's one of the reasons where if you had a clear-cut example like in the National League where our pitcher is clearly our worst hitter, we're going to put him 8th so that our second worst hitter is now our second leadoff hitter, right? So you've probably heard the term of the second leadoff hitter, and there is validity to that when it's clear cut that one hitter is much better than the next one that you've got to have in the lineup. Now, if it's not as clear, then it's not going to make that much difference. Like if your 8-hole hitter would hit 250 and your 9-hole hitter would hit 230, not a very big difference. I would say just mixing those two kids up so that they don't become despairing that they're the worst hitter and they're the last hitter all the time. Be compassionate about what it means to hit last and mix those kids up. So here are the considerations for different levels of play. Real quick, if you want to get more VIP baseball content, click the join button below and learn about my channel memberships where you can get access to hundreds of more non-public videos right here on YouTube. If you're at low level, and this could be at any age, like this is more for fun, this is not high level, baseball, mix the bottom third of your lineup up. 7, 8, 9, 10, if you're batting 10, mix those kids up between those spots. And of course you can move them higher up too, but just don't dedicate one kid to being the last hitter every single game. Like that's their spot. They stink. They're always the last hitter on the lineup. That's not the most compassionate thing you could do, especially when there's not that huge of a gap probably between the bottom hitters in your lineup. That's also the right thing to do if it's just 12U in general, even if it's a higher level 12U team, whatever that means. I would just continue to cycle those kids through the 7, 8, 9, and 10 spot in the lineup. Now, if you're playing at a little higher level, and this could be high school, this could be, whatever level of travel ball or whatever, and the kids are a little older and they understand there's more of a, there's a reason why everyone's in each spot in the lineup and playing time is allocated a little more equitably, maybe not like equally, but like, hey, I'm going to play more if I'm a better player. I'm going to play a little less if I'm a lesser player. Then I think you can start to be a little bit more gritty about which players are in what spots. And then if you have a clear cut, this is our lowest quality hitter for right now, we're going to put them in the 8-hole instead of the 9-hole, or the 9-hole instead of the 10-hole, whatever it is. So you can get that second leadoff hitter effect. The other thing you want to consider is slower base runners. Do you want to stack them in front of lots of singles hitters? That's something you probably want to avoid, right? because you don't want to have slower base runners who can't go first to third, or who can't score reliably on a single from second, or can't score reliably on a double from first, when hitters like that are going to come up and get lots of singles and try to move them over one or two bases at a time. So you want to try to figure out where you can layer hitters by speed and figure out where you can get the most extra bases for one single base hit. So maximizing two singles hitters would mean you have a really fast singles hitter in front of another singles hitter, so that that singles hitter is going to have them go first to third more often than not, and then you're going to get two bases for that single for that base runner. The other thing about lineup construction, and this is a general coaching tip, I would just communicate this with parents and players about why players are hitting in certain situations. Not every single game, because it's going to be exhausting, but at the beginning of the year, have expectations laid out. This is how I construct my lineups. I have top third, middle third, bottom third, and players can always move from one group to the next if they're performing well and hitting well and getting on base. Tell parents what you value. Do you value extra base hits more as a coach? Do you value on base percentage? Are you more of like a Moneyball coach, which honestly you should be? What is it that you value, and what do players need to do to earn higher spots in the lineup or to get more playing time in general? The more you can make this stuff clear, then people are going to understand, okay, I'm not getting on base as much, I'm not drawing as many walks, therefore I'm batting lower in the lineup. If I draw more walks, I see more pitches, I get more hits, then I get to start to move up, right? A lot of the criteria for moving up in the lineup is relatively cut and dry. We know what it looks like to be a high-performing hitter, but some coaches, like in my organization, we did this, we really valued on-base percentage. So you didn't have to hit 400 if your on-base percentage was 400. We were going to have you up because we wanted you in front of the guys with more power and pop. Like, I don't care if you walk 20 times or get 20 singles. If you're on base 20 times, I want you in front of our power hitters. Doesn't matter which, right? And so anyway, let people know up front these expectations. And if you start demoting players or wildly moving players around, it makes sense to check in with them and explain, like, hey, I know you were hitting fourth, now you're hitting sixth, here's why. Or, hey, I know you've been hitting really well out of the 7 hole or the 8 hole. Here's why I'm not moving you up yet. Just be honest with people. You're making these lineups because if you have players who do everything in their power, they're working super hard, they're getting tons of hits, they're getting on base, they're getting tons of at-bats, and they never budge from the lower part of the lineup, that's going to start to breed some helplessness. We're like, what do I have to do to climb the ladder, right? This isn't the major leagues where you're not displacing Mike Trout no matter how well you play, right? In youth baseball, there should be mobility based on how hitters are hitting and when they're getting on base. And that's going to incentivize your entire team to be better and push each other and build the character traits of hard work and, resolve and resilience, rather than just like, well, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm batting ninth, right? So be compassionate, check in with yourself, be a good communicator, and you'll have solid lineups that perform well, and your players will remain happy and motivated to outperform the spot that they're at. All right. Leave me a comment below. What do you like to do with your lineup construction? I'd love to start a discussion in the comments section, so feel free to leave one below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe or join my channel for more members-only videos. Grab a course or a book, and I'll see you here in the next video.